fast in these streets, money. Slow down. Watch it.
The One Tribe podcast is back, guys. We're back, and we're back with a special guest this morning, and I want to do it justice with the intro. So let me run it off the top of my head. So this guy sitting next to me, ex-French international player at the highest standard, ex-Arsenal player, ex-Manchester City player, and overall just a champion guy. I've got to know him for the last, let's say, 6 months. And I want to welcome Mr. Bacary Sagna onto the One Tribe podcast.
Thank you, Nigel.
And my brother, how are you, bro?
I'm very good. Thank you.
Thank you for coming, man. I appreciate it. I sort of leaked onto the podcast platform on Instagram last week that I was going to have you as a guest, and people were like, "Cool, this is cool." But I'm going to go a bit of a different route on why I've got you here, because look, I'm not a football fan. I didn't grow up watching football, and this is why I think it's good for me to do this podcast with you, because I'm not coming in as a fan of the game. I'm coming in as a fan of you as a person and as a friend of mine now. I've got to know you from where we're sitting, the Ballers property and in downtown, and you're our director of the Performance Academy and head coach. And as I said, I've got to know you over the last 6 months, and I've seen the passion that you bring and what you bring to the facility and the academy. So I wanted to talk about, post-career. You played at the highest levels for, some of the biggest clubs in the world in the Premier League. Obviously, you represented your country. You've been there at the highs and you've felt the highs. Now, I want to sort of jump into post-career and what life is like now for Bacary Sagna, the normal human, the dad, the business owner, and talk about sort of, what it was like to hang up the boots and then think to yourself, okay, now where do I go with life? So let's talk about it, bro.
Yeah. Thank you. It's a nice message, nice compliment, first of all. I can only be grateful for having lived the life I lived, playing football, because to me it's the best world. It's the best job in the world. Yeah. So I was blessed enough to be able to play it as a professional for like 20 years. I was blessed enough to be part of some of the best teams in the world. I mean, Arsenal, Manchester City, and even more the national team, because I know it's not down to everyone to be able to wear the shirts. So it's a privilege. And I always thought about the day I will stop.
Yep.
In the back of my head. And I always managed to try and stay grounded, not to have that cut from the professional life, the glamorous life, and if I want to call it the normal life. Because from the minute you stop, people forget about you a bit more. People don't open doors as much as it used to be. I'm lucky still, because people still remember me as an Arsenal player mainly, but it's a totally different life. Absolutely. But I enjoy it.
Yeah. I
enjoy it because it's full of challenges. I love challenges. This is what make me come up every day here, and this is what make me try and create new things and help others.
Yeah.
I have enough knowledge today to try and have an impact on people's life, on the kids' life. This is why we are here in Ballers. We really want to have an impact on their life. We want to change and add something I would have loved to have when I was a kid.
Absolutely.
And also I'm creating other things. I'm involved in other things, like a business company called Gravipack, where you can also have an impact on people's life, because it's a new technology that allow the kids to have a low decrease of 92% on the backpack. Mm-hmm. So regarding school is perfect, regarding hiking is perfect. It will help people. And on behalf also, I made an application, an app regarding football, where I put my own knowledge into the same app. So I hope it's going to be useful for everyone who wants to get to understand football, because football is not always a nice world. You need to be able to select people you want to be surrounded with, and hopefully it will be successful.
Let's touch on that. So let's go back to you as a kid. Where did you grow up, and where did you find the love of football? Where did it all start for you?
Well, I was born and raised in Paris. 1 hour south of Paris. I always say Paris is easier, you know. But 1 hour south of Paris, it's a nice neighborhood. Yep. So from the young age, we used to get the ball and go to the park next door and play all day.
Yep.
So we didn't have any phones. We didn't have any video games. All we wanted to do is to play football, and I think it's really important.
Yep.
From a young age to get used to the ball,
Absolutely.
Play around, learn the skills.
And that's what we're, as coaches, both of us, you know, and similar ages too. You know, I know it's your birthday around the corner, and you're closing in on the 40 mark as well. So, as kids, it was always a raw development. Take the ball down the local park or kick against the wall, and that ball became your best friend. When your friends weren't around, that's what you did to fill in your time, right?
I believe it plays a big part in the way you're going to build up yourself, in the way you're going to be playing, developing your skills. And if you look back, the best players from today are from the street.
Yep.
Neymar,
Yep.
Ben Arfa, French guy,
Yep.
Messi, of course,
Yeah, Messi, yeah. Yep.
and many others.
Yep.
The skills they develop are not mainly from the club, but from the street,
Yeah.
and how they were playing on the street, you know, because it's full challenges on the street. No one wants to lose. Everyone wants to be able to dribble and make fun of other people. Maybe not making. This is when you try what you wouldn't try on a normal pitch.
And to say that as a kid, that was your badge of honor. You would play with new people as kids, and you needed to think, okay, this is how I tell everyone I'm here. Make some noise, right? So you wanted to stand out. You wanted to make that hard tackle, or you wanted to, you know, have them feel your impact on the pitch.
Exactly. Yeah. Especially in my neighborhood, there's a neighborhood next door, so we used to have a team from my neighborhood to the one next door. And you know, it's about pride, and you don't want to lose that type of game.
It's your turf, right? Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure I was scoring many goals, and I wanted to make sure I was the best on the pitch.
Right.
That was my mentality.
So as a young boy, that was a big driving force. You know, sport, movement. You're out there doing your thing with your friends. Now let's take it to, you know, early teens. When did you get discovered in terms of your potential?
It happened slowly. You know, I never think about. I always thought about being a football player, but I never put myself under pressure, you know. From a young age, I used to score many goals. I used to be probably, I want to say, the best player of my team, having a big impact on my team. And slowly I got to play with my oldest brother's team, which is 2 years older. And I still felt comfortable. I was still having impact. I was still scoring. So people start finding out about me. I used to play against my first professional team, youth team.
Yep.
And I used to be very comfortable, and from a young age they wanted me to join the team, but obviously I was living 1 hour away from this team, and my dad refused. But when you go to an age maybe around 13 years old, they create a team of department, like a regional team.
Right.
So I was part of that team. Yep. And then you make a tournament against other departments to create the team of the region.
Right. So it becomes a representative team for the
exactly.
region,
This is how they manage to create national teams.
Absolutely.
They go from small spot to bigger one. And during this tournament, you have many scouts, and one of them saw me, Auxerre, the first professional team when I went, and not long after he sent a letter to my parents. They invited me for 4 days. I went for 4 days, and it was the most terrible days of my youth career, because I faced adversity. Yeah. I faced ego. The kids already had a mentality that was different from mine. I just wanted to have fun, but they were already professionals. Right. And from a young age, there were no love from the coach, and I needed that special love around me and to feel important for the team. So my dad refused. I didn't go. He said to me, you need to grow up a bit more, and I only joined the academy when I was 15, but it was a different story because I didn't go to the main academy. I went to a kind of boarding school. It's an alternative. Right. So I went to normal school, I went to normal college. We used to go school from 8 to 12, training from 12 to 1, back to school 1:30 to 3:30, and 5:30 to 7, again, training session. Right. So every Monday morning, my mom, she used to drop me at 5 on a parking spot of my hometown. I used to take the bus for like 1 hour. No one used to talk to me on the bus. Yep. I was crying most of the time. Yep. Because, you know, I was taken away from my family and from my friends. Right. So the first year was very difficult, you know.
Very homesick, stuff like
very
that.
Upsetting and very difficult, but, you know, you have to go through this type of challenges in
Yeah.
your life
Yeah.
to make you grow faster.
Absolutely.
You know.
And that's it's funny you touch on that because I feel like that's adversity on its own. You can either right there and then in that moment say to your parents or your dad and say, listen, I'm not, this is not for me. I want to be at home. I want to be at school with my friends and thanks, but no thanks, right? But there's something else inside you. Like also, it was similar for me where I didn't want to let people down,
Yes.
right? I
You
didn't
said-
want to let people down.
You said it all. From the minute you manage to reach an academy to the ballers, your target has to remain the same one. You need to be part of this academy.
Absolutely.
From the minute you put your feet in, you cannot reverse.
No. Yeah.
You cannot reverse.
Yeah.
You have to step up your game. You have to be able to deal with the pressure, to deal with challenges.
Mm-hmm.
And this is part of life. It's not
Absolutely.
only proper to football.
It's everything.
It's everything.
Yeah.
From the minute you put your feet somewhere, you need to make sure you give your best.
Absolutely.
And I give my best every single day.
Yeah. You start something, you finish it. You know what I mean?
Yes, of course.
Absolutely.
I cannot. It's proper not only to me but successful people,
Yeah.
and I strive for success and my aim to be successful. So I listen a lot of podcasts of successful
Yeah.
people, and they all have the same leitmotiv.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever they face a challenge, they manage to create something else
Absolutely.
to come back to the best.
Yeah.
And life is not easy. We all facing challenges. And for people listening, I'm not different from anyone. I probably had an amazing career, probably earned a lot of money, but I have on day, off day like everyone. The difference was I never gave up.
And, I hear that a lot when I meet successful people and you hear the outside of the circle, oh, he was lucky because he had this career, or he was lucky, but, she was lucky for this purpose. But people forget the hard work it took. People forget the road it took to get there, the 15 odd years of grind, and then you got your break. And that's what I feel a lot of, especially now in Dubai, is that people start things, whether it be a business or a career, and they're expecting, the pot of gold straight away. That pot of gold may never come, but when it does, it's that break in life because you've worked so hard to get that and find that pot of gold. I want to talk about that because obviously we're in the landscape now, both of us, where we're coaching kids, we're coaching young, easily influenced young men and women because of social media these days, that they think that success can be easily attained just because of maybe the car you own, clothes you wear. But obviously we know, being a lot older than them, that's not the truth, right?
Yeah.
We've almost come, I guess you're the same, we've almost come full circle again, and we're starting our careers from the bottom going up, right? Like,
We have to. You
and,
have to.
and that's what I feel right now,
It doesn't come overnight. It's a lot of hidden work.
Absolutely.
I remember, especially when I joined the academy, most of the kids, they were crying every night.
Yep.
We still had to combine homework, training sessions, lack of sleep, because we used to go to bed at 2 a.m. most of the time and wake up at 6:30 all the week. On the weekend, we used to get the big bags, go down from the hill for half an hour, being alone on a bedroom. Monday morning, 5:30, we wake up, get the big bag and go up
Go back up.
the hill. Coming
Yeah.
to the school, sweating,
Yeah.
having a shower and straight to school, And it's funny because most of the stories I didn't even tell my parents. They don't know what I've been through. And they probably don't know how much it took for me to stay and remain there, And every year, they can give up on you if you're not performing. So the problem people make not being successful and whenever they start a business is they want to be doing what they want to do. It doesn't happen this way.
They don't want to get uncomfortable.
You have to be doing what's needed
Exactly.
to become successful.
Exactly.
And this is a problem. Might be an ego problem because people sometimes are stubborn and say, no, this is what I want, this is what I want to do. But it might not be what people need.
Yeah.
And back in the days, the way I was playing was probably different from the way Academy wanted to play. So I needed to adapt. And here, sometimes, most of the time, the kids, they ask me, are we going to play? Are we going to play? Of course, I want you to play football, but before you can play football, you have to be able to pass properly, to move properly, to adapt,
Walk
and
before you can
understand
run.
football properly.
Correct.
And this is what we are trying to do here at Ballers Academy. We are trying to give them a discipline, a football DNA, a football understanding, coordination.
Yep.
Regarding the pass, pass has to be clean, because if you can't pass, you can play.
Right.
And the kids slowly realize they need to step up, and the importance of starting from the bottom again, because they didn't have the chance to have that type of training session. But they understand slowly the need they have to start from the bottom to bring back the level up and be able to play after.
Right.
And it's not only proper to football, it's every single work the same.
Well, it's life lessons, right? And you know, a big part of why we started the academy, and obviously you being the head figure and your involvement in it, because I feel like me and you think very aligned, and we've had these conversations on the pitch and at work, is that hopefully, you know, maybe one out of those 50, 60 kids that we've got actually make it to some sort of level of football, right? But the rest will learn lessons of adversity, of, you know, failure, of success, because you're not always going to make a team, right? And you need to learn two things: why I didn't make that team, and then two is accept and then pivot and adapt, right? These kids know, what did I do wrong not to make that team? Now I adapt and become a better player so I can make the next squad. And it's these lessons we're trying to teach here at Ballers, not just to the kids, to the adults as well. Because we live in a city, and you've lived here for a long time, is that a lot of things can be obtained because of money. Necessarily not in the best way either. Just because you've got money, that means your kids go to a certain school, or et cetera, et cetera. Now, we're meeting a lot of kids and adults that have a lot of talent. Everyone has, you know, everyone's got it in them to be something special, but it's how you channel that, right? And now we're seeing it. You know, we're in term 2 of the academy, and we're seeing a totally different group of young kids.
Yes.
They're not the same men that walked in the first term.
No.
You know what I mean? And I saw that even, you know, last night when everyone was on time, everyone was in uniform, the warm-up that was being done, it's starting to become a brotherhood out there. And obviously you've played in plenty of teams, but where these disciplines begin is, like you said, at the junior ranks, at the youth league, at that level. You not necessarily playing for yourself, you're playing for your brothers or sisters.
Yeah.
You know, you let that person down, or you have a bad game, you're letting the whole team down. Now, let's talk about that part of the whole adversity. And, you know, because I hope with this episode, compared to the other ones, a lot of our young audience listen to this. And so you've gone through the youth system, you joined your first academy type club, and when do you sign your first professional contract?
2003, I was 20.
Okay.
But for a long time, I was amateur.
Yep.
I just had a license. You know, I didn't go through the normal way. I went to a boarding school academy, which is different from the main academy, because potentially the one going to the main academy have more chances to become professional. I always saw it differently. I always took it as a challenge. Okay, today I'm in boarding school academy. I was supposed to be with them if I went when I was 13, but I'm not. So I didn't develop the same. They used to have one training session a day from 13 years old until 15. I had one